Welcome back to the Nerdrotic Podcast. My name is Gary Buechler. I come to you from nerdrotic.com, and I am live in San Francisco, California, and down south in San Diego, California, is my good friend, my counterpart, Dennis Bithoulkas. What is up?
The better looking counterpart, actually.
Oh, clearly. I know I'm so hideous to look at. That's why I try to grow hair on my face just to cover as much as possible, and the glasses. So Dennis, we are back covering oh my God, this is going to sound like hyperbole because we say this so much, but we only cover really good stuff here for the most part, not everything. Okay, but this one, Counterpart, is a great TV show. It is there now. It is leveled up every episode, and it's this one. I don't know if it was the best episode of the series, but it certainly had the most going for it and the best ending. So, and a crazy ending it was, Dennis. What'd you think, man?
It's all right. No, I'm kidding. No, it's really damn good. Yeah, it's not a slow burn. It seems like it's a slow burn, but it's exactly like what the showrunner said, the creator of the show. He said that it is this big sci-fi concept wrapped in the mundane. And you can really get lost in the mundane portion of it fairly easily and not see the sci-fi aspect of it. I think, really, it's got a little something for everyone. It's got something for the sci-fi person. It's got something for the spy thriller person, if you want. And it's also got something for the drama person, if you want interpersonal drama as well. It's got a little bit for everybody.
It really does. And like drama's the thing I like the least. I'm not a fan of people talking in rooms about their feelings and stuff. But some people love that stuff. In small doses, it's fine. It's very important, I believe. For good storytelling, but just in small doses. And this show does that very well. Like the daughter scenes, would be, and that's something we're going to get to. Going on too long with those would be kind of boring, but they actually serve a purpose other than, we're trying to play to this part of our audience to keep them in tune. Everything's important. That's a lot of TV is guilty of that. Like, we're going to throw in this scene to so our supposed female audience will pay attention, which half the time they're screwed up about that too. I'm talking to you, CW, but and the show being on Stars, it's something we bag on a lot, but we talked about this last night with Ash vs. Evil Dead, that Stars actually is a good network. Whoever is in charge of picking their TV shows over the last couple of years deserves to be running Stars, maybe. I don't know. I know there's been a lot of stuff going on behind the scenes, and there's been a sale, but thinking about it, they have more good shows, in our opinion, than HBO does.
Yes. A lot more consistently watchable shows, honestly. That don't, how should I say, they don't vary from season to season in quality.
No, and HBO of course has the big two, but they don't have a lot of genre stuff, a lot of genre bending stuff, and this show does that in spades. It really does. So let's get into Counterpart, and this is episode 6. So we're over halfway through, and this episode's called "Act Like You've Been There Before," or "Act Like You've Been Here Before." Sorry.
Yes. Yeah. And I want to say it started off again with the recaps. And one of the, they always do quotes from different people in the recaps. And the one I found that was interesting was from Heinrich, who said he's been delivering Pope info for years now. Is this in regards to the mole that is within the office? And so we know it's a he. And we know that he's higher up in the office. He's on the 3rd floor, of course. And that he's been delivering Pope information. So they're working together. So that was one of the things I kind of missed the first time around when Heinrich and Prime were talking.
That is very interesting. And I skipped through that, and I got to stop doing that. And that's very important for our reveal at the end. I mean, we don't have to bury the lead. We'll get to the ending part, but I mean, there it is. That Quayle's wife is the Shadow. I don't, I don't think it was any secret that Claire was the Shadow at all.
No.
It was a big secret though that she was, Quayle's wife. And it was Quayle's wife who she killed and replaced.
Yep.
That one, as the episode goes on, you could see it coming. You saw it coming way earlier than I did, but
I had an inkling of it earlier than you did, and that was with Baldwin and Claire in the supermarket.
Yeah,
just something Baldwin had said, but we'll get to that.
Yeah. Well, but my jaw was still on the ground afterwards, and it was like how well the scene was shot, and creepy, and Harry Lloyd's, you could see his emotions cross his face just in this one scene, where you could just see like it's realization, horror, and dread, and there's definitely a difference between the two, and we'll talk about that at the end. But like we didn't want to bury the lead there, that like holy crap, Claire is the Shadow, and I'm actually pretty worried for Quayle at this point. I don't know how long he's going to be around.
So. Yeah, I don't know how long he's going to be around either, to tell you the truth. Well, yeah, there's a couple different things that can happen. So
yeah, let's start. Let's start the recap then. And we start out with a guy in a uniform running in a parking lot, running for his life. And we see Ian and the lads confront him, and you hear Ian say, "Oh man, it's always the guys from customs." And there was two guys in uniform, and they're both on their knees, and there's Ian and his two henchmen. And Ian like puts the gun right to his head, and he's all, "Listen, I'm paraphrasing here, but if you fuck with the program, you get fucked up." And Dennis, what did they take? What was their contraband, which was hilarious?
I thought it was pretty funny. It was actually a CD of Prince's new album, because Prince is still alive on their side, but not on our side. And he goes, "You realize if this gets through, that everything is up. Prince is dead on their side." This is his best album, his best work he's released in years.
Yeah, that was the funniest part. Like he gets that in as a matter of fact. He's like, you can bring down the whole thing, and this is his best work in years. And then I started asking, like, is Bowie alive? Is Petty alive? Like, who's alive? This is like, you can have so much fun with this concept now. But that was amidst all this, dread is going on, and tension, not dread, but tension that's going on. They throw in the little Prince thing. I thought that was very well done. Very well done.
Yeah. And I love the whole thing about, you don't know if they're going to get killed or not. And so we get another mystery that comes up where Ian basically, he gets a phone call, and he decides that how to deal with them is they're going to be thrown into the black room for 3 months, which we don't know anything about. We don't know what this is now.
No, we don't. But we're getting a better picture of both sides. Whatever this organization is that runs everything, they're not inherently evil. Neither is either side. Now I guess there's this faction that's fundamentalist or fanatical or whatever they are. But both sides are like extremely bureaucratic, but they're not evil. I was fully expecting for Ian to just kill those guys. I'm kind of surprised they didn't, really. I thought that was kind of a mercy to go in the black room. So we're getting, at first they kind of make the series kind of made like Howard Prime's side out to be maybe the bad guys, but as things are going on, you find out we're actually watching two factions of good guys, or our protagonists. I don't know if they're good guys, and they're at each other's throats while this third party is running amok right now, and way ahead of them on pretty much everything.
And speaking of that third party, we actually missed what it opened up on was the three illegals that are in that apartment. We had one of the guys was asleep or trying to sleep, and all he could hear was everything going on outside. And he gets up, he takes a look inside the room, sees the other two are sleeping. So he goes downstairs to kind of mingle, which he shouldn't be doing. And at one point, this group of girls asked him to take a picture with her cell phone of them. And he can't really work it. He's never really seen this cell phone before. And actually, somebody in our Darth Barbecue is saying maybe Steve Jobs died on the Prime side, so smartphones never came to be. But yeah, we've seen this, clear phone that they have on the Prime side. This kind of see-through phone that looks a little more futuristic than what we have. So maybe it's just so advanced that using our cell phones is kind of clunky almost in a way, and not intuitive enough.
Yeah, exactly. But that got me thinking back, and I need to go back and watch that. There's two scenes I need to go back and watch. One was with the HR person that we thought might have been Claire, and the other scene was Baldwin's initial capturing in the very first episode. Was she on our side or their side when that happened?
She was on their side.
Okay. Yeah, because that one government worker that she kills had like this really futuristic looking like glass phone, like something you'd see, in Altered Carbon or something like that. Actually, that's kind of what they had.
It's Tony Stark's phone.
Yeah, and that's also what they kind of use in The Expanse. It's like these, so yeah, it totally looked futuristic to me. But you're right. Later on in the show, we see flip phones, which are always used as burners, so that's no big deal. But yeah, he had trouble working the cell phone. She had to show him how to use it, and they also mentioned that 3 episodes back in that diplomatic meeting when Claude saw Quayle's cell phone.
Yeah.
So I thought he was just kind of playing an act right there, but now I'm not so sure. So yeah, I think maybe they did lose Steve Jobs. That's kind of funny.
So so we have Howard going through Prime's closet and kind of disappointed in what he's seen clothing wise. But he finds a little box that has an engraved compass on it from Emily. It basically says, so you could find your way home. So you could always find your way home. And he opens it up because he's smiling and he looks at it and it's cracked. It's all broken on the inside. And then we go back to the our universe and we see that same compass has a nice little plaque sitting up on the shelf. It's not buried in the closet someplace. It's having a place of reverence, if you will. And Prime is going through some paperwork on the desk. He isn't going into work. Which is throwing up some red flags. And we have basically the Prime's boss or Howard's boss comes into Quayle and is complaining about this, going, "Hey, I thought you were going to take this load off of us. He hasn't come in anymore. What's going on?" And Quayle's like, "Don't worry about it. I'll take care of it." And so he goes and meets with Prime.
But before we get to that, and I don't know if it's important, but I'm going to bring it. It was important enough for them to show it. And I'm more questioning why they showed it, other than you want to show them occasionally going through each other's stuff. I think that's a natural thing. And they showed it, what that little thing of reverence you were referring to was it like a clock or a compass or something? And
it was a compass, yeah.
It was a compass, and it said, and engraved, may you, what did it say?
May you always find your way home.
May you always find your way home. And it was broken.
Yeah, his Prime's was broken, but on our side it wasn't. It was on a bookshelf, like in a place of reverence, whereas Prime's was buried in the closet, kind of like he had been angered, broke it, and then just put it away.
Threw it on the ground. Yeah. Or was it something else? I just don't know why they would show that if it's maybe it was nothing,
Well,
maybe it was nothing. But it
comes up later. It does come up later because it's something that Prime says.
Yes,
about Emily, and that's what. Well, we can actually just spoil that part now. He actually just says that he found out about Emily's job because she wasn't forthright with him about everything. So he actually found out that she worked for the office on his side, and that's pretty much what led to their breakup.
Yep, that was a big reveal.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we're back in the Quayle's office, and Howard Silks. Oh, by the way, that's the when I was going to some promotional material, something promotional. It was on IMDb or something like that, and I guess it's Howard Prime and Howard Silk. So that's how they're. Yeah, I was like, we were just saying Meek or Good Howard, but we're now it's Howard Silk and Howard Prime. So that's the difference between the two, I guess.
Okay. So we have Anna and Emily. They get together. Well, I'll take that back. Before we go there, Ian Prime and Howard Silk meet in the cafe because Howard Silk goes in to go and get coffee. And you can see there's not a lot of people. Everything is, people are always wearing gloves that are handling food. Everything is very kind of sterile. And we know that there was a flu epidemic, so you can see why that is. And the waitress asks if he wants as usual, and he says yes. And that's when we see one thick neck guy come in, a second thick neck guy come in, and then finally Ian comes in.
Ian, before we get to that, every time we're on their side, I did start to notice, I guess other people have noticed it too, but it takes me a while sometimes. Okay. The difference in color palette between,
the lighting,
Prime World. Yeah. It's much cleaner and more in blue, and it's kind of dingy sepia yellows, just slightly on our side. Like there's smog, so that's the scene I noticed it, and I'm like, oh, everything's, it's not just empty, it's cleaner, it's a little brighter, but not like a beautiful bright, like a sterile bright,
and going back to the three illegals, when he comes back to the apartment, the redhead who's in charge basically said, what did he find out there, and what did he think of what he saw out there, and he said it's filthy, they all deserve to die.
Yeah, but I think he was acting. And what a growing problem is, and kind of the theme of this episode is, I think the school, the people they're sending over, I think they lose half of them. I think half of them just
defect,
end up just staying. Yeah. So and they so he says everybody deserves to die. So is that the plan? Is it?
I don't know.
Wipe out the other side. That's kind of what I thought. I mean,
you would think if they have this flu epidemic that we haven't had over here, they could carry it over. Correct?
Yep, and they're way ahead of us medically, apparently.
Yeah.
So because of this epidemic, and it also makes you think about the kind of society something like that would make. It would make a society paranoid. Living in fear. It would make them harder, and it would, to me anyway, and even based on evolution, it would make them more advanced. Usually when we get advancements after something cataclysmic happens, after the plague, and we got the Renaissance, stuff like that.
Well, also it reminds me of Contagion, that movie with Matt Damon and Gwyneth Paltrow.
Matt Damon.
Yeah, I know. And at the end of that movie, he actually tells his daughter, his young daughter, he goes, "You're just going to be the first generation that never shakes hands anymore in greeting." And I was like, okay. That might be kind of where that comes in. Because you notice nobody shakes hands on the Prime side in greeting. No one hugs each other. No one kisses each other. And that was one of the things that was freaking him out, the illegal on the street. Yeah. Everyone was hugging each other, kissing each other, all that kind of stuff. And they don't do any kind of physical contact.
No, and just missing that affection. Yeah. So, he was stunned, but he was like, ooh, I kind of like that. Yeah. So, of course, he gets back. He's all, it's terrible. I want them all to die, but,
Yeah, he doth protest too much.
Yes, he does.
So we have Anna and Emily. They're talking about Howard. They're having a little coffee meeting at Mom's house. And Emily's like, or Anna says, what is going on with Dad? Because I've written him off, a long time ago. And last night I come over and basically he wants to know everything about me. And he listens to everything. And like it's the first time. This kind of pisses off Emily a lot.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Again, just the look on her face, like he did what?
Yeah.
And through this, he got a ton of information. Again, this is Howard Silk, being brilliant.
Yeah.
Maybe it's just all dumb luck, maybe. But there's a very interesting scene before that. And it's of visual storytelling where Howard Silk, right after he goes to the closet, he puts on some Howard Prime's clothes and he's looking at himself in the reflection, but they shoot it like it's just half his face, like, so you're only seeing half of Howard, which I thought was actually really telling. Both Howard Prime and Howard Silk are two sides of the same coin, so they are actually the same. They see themselves as different. But I equate it to, if you watch The Tick, when Overkill was talking to Arthur and he's all, we're the same, and we're brothers, and of course Tick says, does Dot know? No. But never mind, sorry, it's another show. But it made me think of that they both are good, but they're just two different types of good. One's a little more forceful, and the other one's a little more polite. But that's the good visual storytelling there, and that leads to like Howard in this episode continues to get tons of information by just sitting there with his mouth shut.
Yeah, well, he also provokes too, and we're going to get to that in a moment here.
Yep.
So basically Emily tells Anna, she goes, you know what, trust those instincts on not giving a crap about him, and don't. Oh, hey, thanks, A. Carter. Thank you for the $5 donation, and we will keep up the good work. Thank you very much.
Thank you. If you got a question, shoot it this way.
If you got a question, let us know.
Much. Right on.
And don't tell secret president is what Apple Crow said. Sorry. There's Venture Brother talk going on right now in the chat as well. So what ends up happening is Baldwin, we see Baldwin attending Nadia's funeral, which is kind of surreal. And she finds out that, they really aren't so different. That when someone asks, will someone come up and speak? Does anyone have anything to say for Nadia? And no one is coming up. And he's like, anyone? And finally, a woman comes up, and she was one of Nadia's former girlfriends. And she says, yes, she could be really sweet in the morning. She could get up and, practice her violin and make me coffee. That's how she would wake me up. She goes, and there was other times she would just shut me out completely. And I never really knew who she was. And I don't think anyone ever did know who she was. And as she says, I hope in the end that she was with someone who knew her, which was kind of an interesting thing.
and we see the assassin's existential crisis going on. Like she actually has this chance to start over. And you see it mulling around in her head. Before that happened, a couple things happened that we do need to talk about. So when Howard, oh god, this is getting really confusing now. One of the Howards, the boss that was complaining. So it's Howard Prime as Howard Silk is supposed to be going to work. He's not going to work. So that boss is complaining. Quayle's not even listening to him. He's all, yeah, I'll write a report, whatever. I got to get the hell out of here. So he takes off to go see Howard Prime at Howard Silk's apartment. And there's a bunch of files left over. And this is after he's gone through everything. And he's like, tells him, hey, you need to come to work. You need to play your part. You need to start doing this. And he's all, I am working. These are all the files from Emily's little stash, the coma Emily.
Yeah.
And it pretty much confirms that there's a mole. And then Quayle says, yep, it got confirmed from our source that there absolutely is a mole. And so they both go, okay, fine, it's a mole. Who the hell is it? And, they suss out it's in their department. And Quayle, says, fine, screw it. I'm going to the hotel to do whatever he does at the hotel, right? And he's all, just play your part. And he's all, it's my birthday tomorrow. I got this party, and
my birthday tonight.
And I'm gonna be entertaining all these people, and one of them could be the mole. And Howard Prime's all, yeah. And I loved when Quayle was getting mad at him. He's like, when are you going to give me this information? Like, how about right now? I'm telling you right now, I love Howard Prime, by the way. I just do. I hope he doesn't turn out to be bad, but I definitely have a thought about that, or at least in on it. I don't know if it's bad, but in on the jig.
I think he's actually in the dark, like really in the dark.
Yeah, it's funny how he starts out the most like he looks like he knows the most, and yeah, he's the most out in the dark.
Clueless.
Sure.
Yeah, exactly. So Baldwin ends up confronting Claire in the supermarket and basically tells her, don't make a scene or I'll snap your neck. And Baldwin says she wants the 100,000 euro for the contracts that she finished. And that was the deal. And she finished all those contracts. She wants 100,000 euros. And Claire is like, there's no way I can get you that. And basically Baldwin pushed her a little bit more. She goes, okay, I'll get it. And because basically what Baldwin says at one point, and this is what kind of threw up the red flag, she goes, you don't want to lose that newfound family of yours.
Yep. That was, and I didn't think much of it. I knew she was like I didn't know. But seeing her shopping at a grocery store, so I suspected that like her ruse is like she's in a family, but I didn't know it was what it was. I didn't know she replaced somebody. I thought it might have been like that's her cover. I have no idea, but I'm sure a lot of people saw that coming. I mean, I knew she was the Shadow, but
yeah,
as far as Quayle's wife, like hell no, I didn't know that. So yeah, that was a good scene because she's also like, man, I'm paraphrasing here, but she's like, it must suck to be you, just living this lie, because it's clear that Claire kind of digs her life.
Yeah.
And she's really conflicted. I mean, that actress, and she was in Homeland too. She does the best, like, I'm so conflicted face. So like, it's kind of a resting face. There's worse resting faces to have, I guess.
There are, yes, like resting bitch face.
But that there's also, Ian pulled Howard in, right, a little before this, and that's when they started the interrogation, doing the Voight-Kampff test or whatever the hell it was. And
it was a lie detector test. It was just a very advanced lie detector test. It was actually looking at pupillary response more than anything else. So. And
looked a lot like it reminded me of a Voight-Kampff test.
Yeah.
Even with what they were asking, even the crap they were asking. But they introduced, oh my God, what was his name now? The Ian's the lie detector guy.
And I didn't catch his name. I didn't catch his name because it's not an IMDb either. Casper, thank you.
Casper, yeah.
So the actor who plays Casper is also on the Craig Robinson show on Fox, that the comedy, that Ghost Hunters or whatever it is.
Yeah.
And he's actually a main character on there. It's really funny seeing him, in this comedy and then also now on this drama. It's just really kind of broke it for me on that one.
You're going to see that a lot more because with these little event television things that are 10 episodes, the reason they work so well, and the reason they've been doing this over in the UK forever is you can have multiple actors on multiple shows.
Yeah.
You're not locked into this one show, and that way you get better talent. Half this show is filled with like Doctor Who extras. Like they're everywhere in this show. And probably you'll see some more Game of Thrones people pop up too once they're not as busy, and they won't be this year. He starts. They start, grilling Howard and doing this weird, asking him weird, questions or having him repeat stuff on a card.
Yeah. So the repeating stuff on the card was the basically the control, so they can get a baseline of what what his pupillary response is, because kind of like a baseline. And it was kind of funny because once Ian starts questioning him, I loved, Howard's like, I don't know, I don't remember. And he really does not remember because it wasn't him.
Yep. No, that was brilliant. And to the point where Casper shuts it down and goes out in the hallway and goes, he's never been this good.
Yeah, he's really
getting better. He's upped his game. As funny as that was, though, it still could be something. Now, I doubt it. Okay, but I'm going to throw it out there. If one of the Howards is in on whatever this plan is to infiltrate our world and, I don't know, take it over. I don't know what the end game is. Destroy it or just escape. Because it looks like the people they're sending over here are here permanently, like they don't come back.
Yeah.
If say Howard Prime was in on it, then of course Casper would say that, because it turns out that there's a mole in Ian's department too. And this also shows that and as Howard Silk is sitting there and they're talking to him, Ian keeps on asking him questions, but questions with information. So he's just picking up stuff all the time,
Yes, exactly.
And it's getting hilarious at this point.
And it's getting worse actually too, because so we cut away from that. Actually, we go to Aldrich, and Aldrich he's questioning a colleague of Walter, who is a former director, and turns out that it's actually Walter's former lover.
And is this the director that Quails took the place of?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. So that was, this whole thing. It's just really weird. And we find out that Walter had a heart attack at 49, age 49. And it was very sudden, but he had told his lover that he felt like he was being watched. He was always hinting at that he was being watched over a period of a couple of weeks before he died. So obviously he didn't die of natural causes.
No, and Aldrich knew the guy was closeted because he had a family, and Aldrich knew all along. So we're also getting information here that Aldrich, at first he was kind of looking like a buffoon. Honestly, there's a lot of stuff going on under his nose, but the last couple episodes, it's like, man, they must be really good to get past this dude, because he literally sleeps at work.
Yeah,
and when he's bored, he goes through files at work. Which there's got to be something. There's got to be something more to that. I love whenever we get his episode, which could be in season 2 or season 3. I'm looking forward to the Aldrich backstory for sure.
Oh yeah. Oh, definitely. So we cut back over to Prime getting a phone call from Heinrich's wife, and he goes over to. She says, "I don't know what to do." She goes, "He normally, whenever he got into trouble, he would call this number. So what do? I need help." And so Howard, of course, goes, rushes over there, and we find out that Henrik is dead.
Yeah, this is sad. This actually was a really sad scene.
And he's lying in the butcher shop in the back there. Excuse me. And he has his fingers cut off and his teeth pulled out.
Yeah. Did they? I didn't. Where's? I guess they didn't gouge out his eyes. I was kind of thinking they were going to gouge out his eyes a little bit there, but that's another way of identification. But yeah, they didn't want to identify the body, and he got a shot right to the heart. And she was very upset. Howard gets there, and this is, again, we're seeing, Howard isn't as much of a dick as everybody plays him off to be. I mean, he is to his family, obviously, but it looks like he's pretty loyal to his friends. And he was clearly upset, and he's trying to talk her down. And they even pointed this out. If you got, I think this is on Stars. Afterwards, they talked to Justin Marks, the creator of the show, and this is one of the scenes they pointed out about. And the theme of this episode is love the lie. Even though like it was a lie, it doesn't mean I don't entirely agree with this logic, by the way, but I'm just telling you what he says. He's all, sometimes it's just better to love the lie. Yeah, maybe in Hollywood, but the real world, I don't know. And that's pretty much the advice Howard gives her. She's torn apart. She's got kids at home too, and he gives her some money. And she wants to know like why he died and who he was. She knew, Howard pretty much does tell her that wasn't his real name. But, he also says, listen, the less you know, the better. You need to call the police now. You need to call this in regular. And, she asked what to do. And that this is where he brings up what you spoke about earlier, where he brings up the thing with Emily, where what broke them up was he found out she was working for housekeeping. She kept it from him. And, even though he probably kept a ton of secrets from her, like he got pissed off and broke up with her.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. He just says, sometimes he goes, if you find out what the truth is behind the lie, he goes, that's what breaks things up. That's pretty much what it is. And he says, now that it's over, just to get further away from it, he goes, just accept I love the lie. And Heinrich had actually left behind some passports and like 130,000 euros for her. So he said, hide the money, and then call the police. Is what his advice was to her.
Yes, and I agree, Viking bitch. I hope they cut off his fingers after he died as well. That would be. I think they did. Claire doesn't look like the type that would. Oh, maybe she is. I don't know.
I don't know. There's a lot of blood coming out of those fingers, so they could have done it as torture.
There was. Which is too
And
bad.
so this leads us over to Emily. She comes over to her boss, Bob, and says, remember the whole thing about you finding drugs in my blood system and all that? She goes, yeah, I am having some personal problems. And she goes, I remember you said that I could take some time off. She goes, I want to take that time off. It's still available. And he says, yeah, sure. Let's do that. She leaves and she starts talking to the woman from records, HR, and basically says, okay, she's talking about the Potsdam address that they know the courier has been dropping off stuff to. They just don't know to whom they're dropping it off to.
Or for what.
Yeah. And then the girl from records tells Emily that Ian had brought in Howard questioning in front of everybody. And this pisses Emily off a lot.
Yeah, big time.
Because she knows that, it's not Howard Prime. It's Howard Silk. And meantime, we get back into the cell there where he's being questioned. And Howard basically pushes Ian's buttons. He basically calls out Ian's bullshit on the question. He goes, why am I even talking to you? Why am I even supposed to be answering any questions from you? You're not my boss, pretty much.
Yeah, I was waiting for him to do that because Howard Prime wouldn't put up with it. But again, Howard Silk, by sitting there being quiet, which both of them do. Both of them like just shut up when people start talking, which is such a great move. But we get a lot again. We find out with Ian that he's just not some fly by night boyfriend with Emily.
Yeah,
like, he's actually been there through her at her lowest point. When she was bottoming out with drugs, like he was there during the detox, which is bad. And he wasn't. Howard Prime had bailed on her at that point at her worst point. So,
but again, he gives up all that information.
Yeah,
Howard Silk, he gives up everything. It's just like, dude, really, you're just like spilling beans. The interrogation is supposed to go the other way around, dude. The other way around.
I know, right? It played into his hands. But I think Howard Silk kind of got a little respect, has a little bit of respect for Ian now because he's like, okay, this guy's in it to win it. He's in for the long haul. So
yeah,
I mean, he's still the competition, but
But Ian asked that last question because he says Emily could get hurt or killed, and Howard bursts out and says, "I'm not going to let that happen." And that's when Ian says, "Are you still in love with your ex-wife?"
Yeah.
And before he has a chance to answer this, because remember, he's still hooked up to the machine, Emily bursts in and grabs the machine and goes, "Okay, this shit's over with."
Yep. But even at that moment, Ian was like surprised that Howard bursted out like that. He was like, whoa, I was not expecting that. So, that was interesting.
And so Emily takes Ian aside and basically, Ian's like, Emily's like, why are you questioning him? Because we talked about this earlier in the hospital and you said you're going to take care of it and you haven't. So I'm taking care of it. And that's when she goes, you know what? He's working with me. He's giving me some information. And then she tells him about the house in Potsdam. And she tells Ian to gather his boys. And we're bringing everybody out to the house in Potsdam.
Get the lads, he says.
Get the lads, yes.
I love it when they say get the lads. It's never good when you have to get the lads, though. So they're on their way with Howard Silk to Potsdam.
Potsdam
Manor, yeah. Potsdam Manor, whatever. Yeah.
And we find out that Casper, the lie detector guy, ends up making a little phone call to Pope with a coded message. And Pope hangs up, and then Pope makes another phone call to somebody else with another coded message. We don't know what this is about. But all we know is it's coded messages. Because it's about dry cleaning and
Yeah,
you got the wrong number and
you
all
got
that
the
kind of
wrong
stuff.
number, and I won't be needing this service anymore, or something like that.
Yeah.
And it's very spy. It's like it's almost too on the nose, but it's still great. It's like, yeah, mysterious man reading a paper by the fire in a giant English manor with six, burner flip phones. But it's cool. It's so well done, man. I don't know. Or maybe that isn't typical, but maybe I just watch too much freaking shit. So I don't know. But
Yeah.
it was good.
And in the meantime, we also forgot to mention that Baldwin had gone back to the cafe from the last episode and had talked to the girl behind the counter there and paid her for the soup and everything that she gotten last time from. She had a big fat wallet full of money. We don't know where that came from. It looked like she stole it from somebody. And the girl says, well, with that kind of money, you could eat at a better place. She goes, oh, but I like the coffee here. It's good. She goes, no, it's not.
No, it's not. Coffee's shit.
Yeah. And so she had given her an address. She goes, there's an all-day party going on. Maybe you should show up. And so this is where we find Baldwin and this girl. They go to the club and flirt a bit. And Baldwin and the cafe girl end up going back to the cafe girl's place. And the flirting leads to nakedness, shall we say.
Nakedness? Yeah, more stars late night lesbian sex.
Mm-hmm.
And
well, there's no sex involved. It's just nakedness. It's a lot of fondling.
That's a lot of assumed sex. There we go. Yes. I don't know if fondling is sex. We don't want to get into semantics right now. Yeah. Not on this show. Let's not go there.
I hate
argue about it.
I hate antics. All right. So I don't want to get into any. Yes.
As long as it's as long as you have permission, it's all good. Yeah. So there's that scene, and more Baldwin boobs.
Yes.
Getting them pretty much every episode.
But Baldwin has a flashback to being set up by Claire.
Yep.
As the cafe girl goes, hold on a minute, I'm going to the bathroom. So she goes to the bathroom, and Baldwin picks up her gun and hides it underneath the bed, in between the mattress there.
You mean not everybody does that all the time?
I do it. Yeah.
That's unusual? Oh, okay.
I have a couple of them.
Yeah.
It's standard practice, man.
Yeah. One for each hand.
So Prime ends up going back to Heinrich's place. We already talked about that, and we did this out of order there. And so Prime ends up confronting Quayle about Heinrich's death, and that all the info
is great.
Yeah, he basically goes to the hotel, bursts out the door, kicks out the hooker, pays the hooker with Quayle's money.
I know. I love that little detail where he's like, I'm like, what's he going back for? And he gives her the money. Like.
And she's still banging on the door about the money. That's what she was yelling at. It's like, hey, I haven't gotten paid. And that's why he went back and grabbed the wallet. He pulls up the money and he's screaming at her in German. He throws the money out the door and shuts the door again. He's like, okay. He goes, you know what? All this stuff is coming from your house. It's coming from you. So the mole is somewhere with you. And also at this point, this is what Aldrich has found out as well, is that it's all coming from Quayle. And so he thinks Quayle now is the mole.
Yeah, because of that, the Walter thing, that there's only certain amount of people who knew that. And I don't know how many of Aldrich's people, he seems like he trusts that one guy, but it just seems like that guy's going to betray him at some point. Yeah. I wouldn't trust anybody. But Aldrich susses it out because of that Walter situation. There's only so many people who knew that, period, and knew he was gay. And so we have this whole cutting scene that Aldrich, thinks he's going to start going after Quayle now.
Yeah.
And that could be bad.
And so then we also have Ian and crew showing up to the house over in Potsdam. And it looks like there's a fire going on, because it's dark, of course, and we see what looks like a fire out in the distance. And they grab guns, and it's kind of funny. Emily takes this time to go, I heard you had a meeting with Anna. Is kind of pissed off. She goes, stay in the car. And he says, would he stay in the car? And he said, that's why he starts going. He goes, and he says to Ian, give me a gun. And Ian, of course, hesitates for a second. He goes, looks at him, gives him the gun, and it's like, okay, this Howard Silk is getting a little bit of balls on this one, keeping up appearances. So they end up going up over the hill, and they see that all these guys are pulling files out of this house and just burning them in barrels all around in the driveway, like multiple barrels. And they're just pulling out files, and they're cleaning house is really what they're doing. They're screaming at each other in German. We don't know exactly what's going on.
Other than burning a bunch of files.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was kind of wondering why they didn't just go right then. I mean, maybe it's too late and they couldn't get. And I know that they're an organization that can't really get caught by cops. Like there's only a few people in the police force know this, whatever their organization is called, exists. Yeah. So it's that secret. Like maybe that's why they couldn't go out. Because I was wondering, like, why didn't you just go in, or were you saving that scene for next episode? Maybe I don't know. I thought we could see Howard Silk though, popping a cap in somebody.
Yeah, I know, really. So then we end up cutting back to Quayle getting home, and he has his sheaf of papers that Prime had given him, and he's looking over, what these records are, and he sees one that's a memo from him, and he's looking at it, and he's got a cup of tea in his hand, and he realizes that there's a coffee stain or a tea stain on this memo. And he looks at it, and it looks exactly the same as his cup. And he pops it down on that memo on the Xerox copy of it, and he's like, "Oh crap! It's a perfect match. It came from my records." And he immediately opens up his safe and finds the exact memo with the actual coffee ring on it, and realizes that yes, it did come from his safe. And there's only two people that actually know that combination to that safe: him and his wife.
Yep. And then that whole scene was creepy, because as he's discovering it, the music gets a little more intense, and the look on his face, like he has just one shot showing at him, and three things come over his face, and it's just like a change in the eyebrows, and it's like realization, horror, and then dread when his wife starts singing to the baby, and you're like, oh, that was good. And at first I thought like she would know that he knew, and maybe she kind of does. I don't know. I don't think so. And so he slowly walks out there, and then there's the Claire reveal, and that was good, man. I was like, damn. And she's like, what's the matter, honey? Yeah. So hang on, talk for a second, Dennis.
Sure.
I got to take care of something.
Okay, so so we had that big reveal, and basically Claire is playing. She's like, "Oh, go ahead and take the steak out of the oven, because we have guests coming over at 8, and everything looks good, and for your birthday dinner tonight, and the guests are going to come over," and they just kind of leave it at that, and they go to black from there, and it's just like, holy crap, this whole thing. Claire being Shadow, of course, Claire being the mole in Quayle's life as well, his wife, and everybody just kind of running around, not really knowing who is where, and she's been playing them all this time. So it's just really a good show. Jody here says, unless he knows, but he's been keeping up the charade. No, I don't think he knew. He didn't know that at all, man. That was like a sucker punch to him. Oh, wait a second. Unless she knows that he knows, but is keeping up the charade. No, she doesn't know that he knows yet either. I'm fairly sure she doesn't know. Claire, exactly, Viking bitch. Claire probably thinks that he's too busy with his hookers to pay attention to what he's doing. He got his position via nepotism. That was all it was. He's a dumbass. He's the boss's daughter. Exactly. He got his position.
Got to read the comments, Dennis. It's a one-sided conversation there, buddy.
No. I was just saying that this is what she said, is that Claire is the boss's daughter too. So yes, he got his position by being the boss's, by marrying the boss's daughter, and that's how he got it. So he's a dumbass. He really isn't qualified for the position, and she's using him because of that.
Yeah, Johnny Papa said, yeah, they killed his Claire and replaced her. Yeah, that
Yeah.
is it. That's and she referred to that before, and it's been out there, and even the creator of the show has come out and said everything is out there. Like you can go back and rewatch it and probably put a lot more pieces together. And I mentioned last week that one of my wife's clients has seen like knows somebody who works on the show or does work on. I don't know what her relation was, but she has seen it all the way through and said there was going to be a big reveal this episode. And there's a couple big reveals. I mixed it up. I'm not going to repeat what I mixed it up with because it's kind of a spoiler. But she said like this episode you're going to get the big reveal, and so obviously she's telling the truth. And yeah, that's the biggest reveal of the show so far. But that's not the last one by far. I think we're still gonna. I still think there's something up with Aldridge, either with we did. If you go back and watch that Baldwin escape scene, that is most definitely Aldrich under the mask.
Yeah,
like the eyebrows are the same. So I think we're gonna get more big reveals like this. Sorry, yeah. I had my computer. I had to plug in my computer. It almost died. So excuse me. I'm glad we made it back though.
So that's it for the episode. Should we get to some comments?
Yeah, let's do that.
All right, let me scroll back up here a bit and see what we got. He was Johnny Papa says he was right. The mole is going to be at that party.
Yes. And in bed later and feeding the baby.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Here's the deal. Here's the deal, though. Like the one thing, and I hope they show this. And the show's been pretty damn good with details. I don't, unless at the school Claire had some kind of mother training, and I know that they've shown that the others are actually really close. They're not that as far apart as they said. They repeat themselves. They say the same things in the same situations. So
yeah.
I'm also wondering, this is totally on a tangent here, like if two others get too close to each other in proximity, like if they start just mimicking each other because of that, or are they just like that all the time?
I think, it's got to be because of the proximity. They come back together again, if you will.
Yeah, see, that'd be weird if they went full sci-fi on that. But with like Claire just being able to replace a mother, I mean, it works great for the story, but it sounds like they got like the school thing, like, starts from birth or from very early age. And one of the commenters, was it Jody who said, maybe they take the kids, whose parents died from the flu or whatever the hell that was. And, say they died too and just put them in the school, which I think is a great theory, by the way. Yeah. So I think that was you, Jody. Good job, Jody.
Jody also says here, actually, does that mean they don't have an internet over there too? Because didn't the internet originally develop on our timeline because of the Cold War?
The internet was developed before the accident happened. So I think they would have it. I don't know how far it's gone at this. Ours might be more advanced.
Yeah, originally it was supposed to trade information. So it started back in the 60s, the internet, and it was supposed to trade information. Then the government, the military complex also wanted to use it to trade information in the time of wartime, if there was like a nuclear war or something like that. So they could trade information without telephone lines, basically, digital information. And then scientists got involved again with it and said, hey, well, let's do this so we can trade information broadly, like, medical records and all this kind of stuff. And that's when it kind of blossomed 80s and 90s.
Yeah, that's a good question. And this show could go on for many seasons. I mean, we've just seen a little piece of it. And as they have this world grow, and like I said last episode, they pretty much tell you in the credits that there's more than just one copy. It's infinite copies. It's a mirror, it's two mirrors facing each other. So I don't know how far they would play with that. Depends. I don't know if we've even gotten confirmation of a second season yet. I haven't bothered to look. But I can't see how it doesn't get one. Critics are loving it. I'm loving it. How are you guys liking it in the chat? I think the show is freaking brilliant. So
yeah, everyone's been really liking it. Viking Bitch actually has a good, and I noticed this last episode too. How they've been changing the opening images for every episode. There seems to be some clues there.
I'll have to go back and look. I've been meaning.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna do a rewatch because that's a possibility. It's when they do the scenes before. Dennis picked up on a couple things, a couple of quotes, and you picked up on it this week. And then there was last week one that I don't remember hearing at all. But that's how you miss stuff because it is so mundane.
Mm-hmm.
But everything's just so chock full of information. It's definitely worth a rewatch. But that's a possibility.
And let's see. Jordan Kaminsky says, "How about that Prince joke before?" We were mentioning that at the beginning too. We thought that was pretty good. But Tick's best work, or excuse me, Tick. If there was another Prince's best work yet on this album.
I know, right? So I'm looking forward to Bowie still being alive. That would just make me happy. Jody asked, Gary and Dennis, when you say that the doubles tend to start coming together, where they start to align themselves with each other, sort of like a quantum entanglement situation.
Yes, where they start thinking alike and start having the same thoughts. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, and I bet you it's a proximity thing. That would be weird and cool and a good thing to add in. We didn't see anybody crossing this episode.
We did not. No. Old Tube 2 says, my guess is if Meekauer turns out to be more than he seemed in the beginning, then his pointing out a spot on the other guy's tie could have been a hidden message after all.
Oh, you know what? I didn't even freaking think of that.
Yeah, I didn't think about that either.
That was totally a hidden message.
Yeah.
It's got to be.
It could have been the start of all this. That could have been what prompted everything, was that he was ready.
Oh, what if that's something like they pay off in like season 4 or something like that? Like Counterpart's Red Wedding. That'd be brilliant. Long game.
And Viking Bitch says in this episode they had two figures walking towards each other and then combining through a wall in the opening.
I can't. Oh, I have to. I know. I've always seen them stop at the wall and they like put their hands up. Are you talking about that scene or the one where they're in like the little rooms or boxes?
No, she said in this episode they have two figures that are walking towards, and when they stop sometimes and they touch the wall, but this time she said they actually walked towards each other and then combined through the wall.
Oh, that'd be awesome if they're doing that. I'm gonna check that out. Yeah, I can't remember that. I'll have to look.
Yeah,
that sounds brilliant. Yeah, why not? I would take this show. I would fuck with you every way I could with the show at the end credits, everything. Yeah, it's fun.
Yeah,
and this is the kind of show Stars doesn't need to cancel. They're shooting pretty much on the same 2 or 3 blocks in Berlin. You're throwing in an extra building in the background. You're shooting in 2 different color palettes, but in the same place. You're saving money on actors because everybody plays 2 parts. Dude, yeah, don't cancel this, Stars, please.
No, don't. Johnny Papa says, any German scholars who can tell us what those stamps say?
My grandma's dead. She spoke German. I don't know if she was a scholar.
And she says both those, Viking Bitch says that both those people that melded together, they dissolved into a spot on the game board.
Oh, I don't know if they always do that or not. I'm gonna have to look now. Because I was watching the credits where you see the silhouette of Howard. I'm assuming in the it looks like a room, but then it backs out and then it looks like a bunch of rooms. And it turns into the Go table or Go board. And they show just infinite reflections of somebody putting their hand against the wall. When you go and listen to Justin Marks in the very first after credits little thing they talk about, he says, I lay out everything in the show. Every detail is out there. I'm not hiding anything from you. So, although Sam Smeal said that, and Mr. Robot, and it was kind of a liar. But
Apple Crow said this is sounding like what Lost would have been if Bad Robot was competent.
yes. if Justin Marks was in charge, it would have been Lost. Would have been good. And that's the damn thing about Lost. It did start out good. That's why so many people watched it.
I never got into it. I tried to, and I was just like, this is a show about nothing, man. They don't know where this is going. I saw that it was going nowhere, man, and I just stopped. So
yeah, I did. I stopped after season 2. I was like,
I stopped after the 3rd episode. I was like, yeah, I'm done. Darth Barbecue says, I almost feel like I need to buy a cork board and some yarn to start a conspiracy board. You don't need to buy a cork board. All you need is a big wall, kind of like Arthur did, and some yarn and some pins.
Wait, not everybody doesn't have a conspiracy board at home?
I do.
I do.
It's in my bedroom now, so it's just
mine's on my ceiling. Mine's on my ceiling.
That's difficult to get to.
Yours is just has pictures of Anson Mount, and it's just a bunch of strings to his abdomen. I'm just kidding.
No.
Inside joke there, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, he thinks I'm obsessed with Anson Mount just because the guy's a good actor.
I think just because he's a good actor and those rugged, handsome looks.
And no, just because I mentioned that he'd make a good Batman, and then what else? There's something else.
Everybody else we've cast since we've started this podcast, but it's cool. It's all right. I'm not judging, man. It's all good. He is handsome. I like him better with the beard, to be honest with you. And when he says words, unlike the Inhumans.
Yeah. The Inhumans, man, that was just God. Less said about that show, the better. Hell
on Wheels, good show, by the way.
Yes, damn good show. Old Tube 2 says, do they have Deutschmarks on the other universe? I wonder, because they have non-EU license plates on the other side.
Oh. Yeah, we meant to check about that, about the money, on which side the money was from, because Emily had the Go money, but it was on our side, and naturally the money would be different. So, I mean, being from Merca, all that foreign money looks all the same to me. With all your kings and queens on it. We're just settlers, simple folk, salt of the earth.
So you're talking about dumbasses, is what you're saying?
Yes, Mr. Dumas.
I forget what movie that was from. He goes, "Real simple folk, real salt of the earth." Oh, so you're saying dumbasses? Yeah, that's right.
Oh my God! Is it a Mel? It's a Mel
Brooks movie. I think it is a Mel Brooks movie. Yes, it is. It's Blazing Saddles. It is.
Yes, yeah, it's Blazing Saddles. Yeah, it is. Okay, I was like, duh. I was just like, is it Young Frankenstein or? Man, I'm getting old when I forget that. I could quote every second of Blazing Saddles 5 years ago, but old.
Yeah,
so, never mind.
Exactly.
So how are we doing in the comments? We almost caught up there.
Yeah, Jody says, which is also how master chess players do it, right? Deception in plain sight, and to a certain extent, you could say the same about the game of Go. Yes. Hey,
Johnny Pappas.
Thank you. He goes,
I want to know. Oh, you go ahead. Sorry.
Okay. I want to know what the politics are on the other side, countries, etc. Yeah, I do too. We also want to know how many people are left. What countries are still available. Because remember, last episode we saw this big sign up in the mall that said Paris open for business again.
And yeah, this is so the flu happened when Anna was a child. She's clearly in her mid-20s, maybe 30.
Mm-hmm.
So this happened at least 20 years ago. So what the hell happened to Paris? And those little details you got to keep watching, like if there's ever news on the background, or there isn't, but there's like little posters and
someone else was also saying in our comments, they said that Anna might be her. Remember when the one of the illegals was talking to Shadow?
Yes.
And said, "Oh, she still talks about you." And so she was the commenter was thinking that maybe Anna is actually the head of the school, because we never see what Anna does for a living.
Oh, that is completely fucked up, and I hope they do that.
Yeah.
That is messed up. Oh, like all of them are in on it.
Yes.
The whole family.
Yeah. They're all working for the office and no one knows about it. They don't know from each other.
That's great. Well
Uh,
played. Thank you again,
Mark.
Johnny. Really
Yes. Thank
appreciate
you.
that.
Mark Maginot says, and Howard Prime left Emily because Emily switched universes. With the question mark there.
That's one way to get away from your man.
Yeah.
He was
I don't
kind of
think
an
that's the
asshole.
case. Yeah, I don't think that's the case, honestly. Otherwise this Emily Prime would be playing it a little too good. You know, yeah, I don't think that's the case, honestly.
I I don't know. I have no idea what's going on right now in this show. There's definitely something up with Emily, and not just like I don't. Yeah, and of course that wasn't an accident. There's something
Yeah.
else. There's a reason why
Someone
the
was trying to
ending.
kill her.
Yeah, but I think it was more than just letters to Howard. I think
Yeah.
it was way more than that. So a setup, maybe. I don't know. I don't know. Um, let's do a couple more comments, and we got to wrap
Yeah.
this baby up.
So Jody says, I think they'll save that sort of world exploration for further seasons. This season is all about setting up the basic premise and resolving the initial arc. Once they have that, they can expand. Agreed.
Agreed. Absolutely agreed. Yeah, I no, I wouldn't want them to go into that. Uh, no, they keep this season compact, keep it what it is, and I am totally okay with that. So,
And
oh, go on.
sorry, Johnny Papa says, but I want to know now.
I know, don't we all? Maybe I am getting older. I used to be, yeah. No, I don't want to know now. I want to wait. I want to savor it because there's so little shows like this on the air anymore. And yeah, I love a good spy drama. I do. And the bending or the mixing genres. Uh, it's been tried a lot. It's rarely executed well, but this one is almost perfection.
Yeah,
Almost.
it's spot on.
Yeah.
Jordan
What's up, Bam?
Kaminsky says if Emily Prime was receiving those fax documents from Claire, is Emily Prime bad? Emily Prime wasn't receiving the fax documents. It was Emily Silk that was receiving them because they were in her files. That was where Howard Prime found it in her go bag that was hidden in the professor's apartment that she was screwing around with.
Yeah, Emily Prime seems to be really into her job and good. I think we've seen enough of her behind the scenes to where I don't think she's putting on. Emily Silk could definitely be bad. I think that, and playing both. Oh my God, how bad is that to play both Howards?
Yeah.
You have to be going out of your way. That is beyond just like, I want to get some intel and get my job done. That is like, I'm going to fuck with you the best way I know how with your other two. I'm going to cheat on you with you. But according to Austin Powers, technically, it's not cheating, baby.
Yeah. Johnny Papa says, you guys turned me on to this show. I had never heard of it. Now Stars is getting my $8.99 a month.
Ooh, man. Yeah, they're getting mine too. And
me too.
That's good. That's good. We need to support good stuff, even though they are nickeling and diming us to freaking death with this crap. But no, this one's worth it. This one's definitely, and you also get to watch Ash as well.
And American Gods.
So
yeah,
that's some good things. And they got the back catalog tab if you want to, subject yourself to Penny Dreadful, which is equally both great and terrible. Go for it. What's up, Bam? I'm glad glad you got your sketch or your happy prize, by the way, and you're happy with it. And yeah, very happy about that. I was a little worried. I never know when I put stuff, and it wasn't your country. I worry about my country. Our post is kind of wonky these days. So
I'm gonna read one more comment, and I think we should do it from there.
Yes.
Matt S says Emily Coma was helping Howard Prime. Yes, she was.
She absolutely was. But was it a setup or was it? It sounded genuine.
Yeah,
it sounded genuine. But at this point, yeah, she was playing with him because she was cheating with another guy with with
The
Andre,
professor, yeah.
the professor, who I still think there's way more to him. So yeah, she was cheating on Nice Howard with his other and another guy. So morally, she's a little gray. Okay, we'll say that. And we'll leave it at that.
More than a little gray, yeah, but
yeah, a little gray. Okay, a little. Okay, a little. I don't know, dark gray. But you could still be like, I don't know, you just bad at relationships and kind of be a good person to your friend. No, yeah, that's kind of a shitty person. Never mind. I tried, Emily Selk. You're a bad person.
Yeah, exactly.
In the story. So yeah, we're gonna wrap it up there. I have my wife just got home, so I need to go see her. Although I love hanging out with you guys and I love talking about this show, and I'm glad you guys are turned on to it and enjoy it as much as we do. I tell you what, hopefully, I know one thing. I know sometimes people who work on the shows like check out podcasts, and once in a while they run across, we even got a comment. I have actually only read half of it, but we got a comment from somebody who works on the Ash show on one of our Ash videos today. Yeah. And we, Catherine Lafrere from Happy found us, cruising around on YouTube, seeing what people are saying about their show. So you never know. Maybe I don't think J.K. Simmons is spending any time on YouTube, but maybe like a gaffer from Counterpart is watching us. So if you are, you're welcome on the show. And you can't see the chat, but people in the chat are loving the show. People are really liking the show. So if any of you are watching, we just want to let you know. And we do, that's the main thing we do here. Yes, once in a while I'll bitch about a show, but I like to talk about good television. Okay, and this is now my favorite show to do right now, and I can't wait to see it next week.
Yeah, me too.
Papa said I want it all now, but I want to wait too. I'm so conflicted. So conflicted.
So let's see. I want to thank again Johnny Pappas and A. Carter. Is that right? Yes, A. Carter for donating $5 a piece. Thank you very much. Very cool of you guys. And to everybody who's been in the chat here: Matt S., Apple Crow, Viking Bitch, Jody, Bam, Jordan Kaminsky, Mark Maginot, Darth Barbecue. I'm going to miss people here. Ultube 2. Sorry, that's not a name that rolls off the tongue all that easily. Sorry, man. if I murdered that one. Kristen Ect09. I think that's a Ghostbusters fan. I believe that's what that is. I'm not too sure. Correct me if I'm wrong. And I know we had somebody poke in here, and Ghost World had come in earlier as well too. So thank you all.
Everybody. Yeah.
And what do we have coming up next, Gary?
Our next show is going to be tomorrow night, 7:30 p.m. We're going to do part two of The Tick. So we're going to do episodes 10, 11, and 12 tomorrow night, and talk about the series and really try to get more people watching it. I think people are just kind of saving it for later. No, don't watch it now. Then on Wednesdays, X-Files returns. We're going to do the X-Files. Then, of course, there's our Friday Night Live podcast at 8 p.m. And Saturday night, 10:30. Actually, we're going to move Ash to Sunday during the day before Counterpart. So it's going to be an hour, or, depending on Dennis has an obligation on Sunday. So depending on that, but it will be
Sunday. Yeah.
Yeah. So, we're moving Ash vs. Evil Dead to Sunday. And then, of course, we're back with Counterpart. And then there'll be maybe a surprise podcast here. Actually, I am going to try a little experiment tomorrow morning. So I know we're not usually morning people, but I'm off tomorrow. So I want to try this. I'm experimenting with some software. Nothing bad, not bad experimenting. But that's going to be at like 10 a.m. our time, Pacific time, tomorrow morning. And it's just going to be kind of just a live open chat with just me.
Jody was just asking about that. He was just saying, what about the Monday morning podcast you mentioned?
Yeah. So. Oh yeah. It's happening. And that means he's going to our website. Bless your heart, Jody. Bless your heart. So Dennis has a Twitter. It's at DeForce, DAFORCE. Please follow him. He has lots of fun information and little quippy things to say on Twitter. He's also running our Facebook group. It's part of our Facebook page, which is Nerdrotic Podcast, or facebook.com/Nerdrotic Podcast. And it is the Nerdrotic Podcast group, which I am having a little trouble navigating because I'm old man internet. So yeah, I'm figuring that one out. So just I can't figure everything out. All right, God. I yeah.
And this is the reason why Johnny, he does not do legal cannabis or any of that kind of stuff, is because he can't figure it out sober. So we don't want him to.
Yeah, we don't want me to do that stuff anymore.
Yeah,
anyway.
and we don't want him doing that stuff.
The podcast would get a little more interesting for a little while. Then I would crash and burn and die. So yeah, just not a good idea. My Twitter is at Nerdrotics, and we have a Patreon. We have wonderful patrons. Viking Bitch is one of them. She's in here, and we're going to start doing putting up some content once a week. We have a $1 tier at I always forget because I did them so long ago. A $10 tier and a $15 tier. Just go check it out.
Yeah.
Patreon.com/Nerdrotic.
Yeah, it's $1, $10, and $15. Yes.
So there'll be some fun content popping up there next week. I'll just surprise y'all. And yeah, that's it. Dennis, any final words?
Apple Crow had a really good final word here. He said, literally, old man yells at cloud.
That's right. That's me.
So I'm going to say, children of Earth, don't let the door hit your ass on the way out.
And may the small folks sing songs of your greatness. Good night, everybody.
Good night, everyone. Thank you.